I want to talk about Superman.
Why?
Because I think he is misunderstood in the thing that we talk about with our tagline, the lexicon of something else.
He's misunderstood in the lexicon, like people,
yeah, like a general, like he's probably the most famous superhero of all time.
I would agree with that,
but I don't think many people know much more about him beyond what is at a broad stroke. So I want to kind of talk about who he is as a character, who made him, what differences are out from when he first came out and now the current Superman. And I want to talk about what makes a good Superman story.
First off, I just want to tell you flat out that I hate Superman.
Yeah,
I find him completely boring and completely unrelatable. And I'll tell you why. Because in Marvel, like, you know, there are a lot of heroes and villains and gods and things that are more powerful or equal as powerful to Superman, and they keep building, but they have to find creative ways. Such like Superman is like, I have not seen a story where it was realistic that Superman lost.
Right.
Because they never pit him against someone who could actually beat him. Like Lex Luthor is his number one villain. That's just a human. Like that's boring. And then he's an alien. He's not even from Earth. I can't relate to him at all. Like I'm a white guy and I can't relate to Clark Kent. Are you kidding? He's like the most white bread person ever.
40 cakes. That's as many as 4 10s. And that's terrible. And he
stole what?
40 cakes. I promise you, people like go Google Lex Luthor cakes and everybody at home, you will die laughing. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I understand. And that's like that perception is exactly why I want to talk about Superman.
Right. And I want to say one final thing, which is I did watch most of Smallville because I love a good origin story.
Somebody save me. Come on and break right through me.
No, I've always said that I really love an origin story. And I've used the fact that I hate Superman but enjoyed Smallville as an example to prove that. I've done that my whole life. I've said that line probably 100 times. So
actually,
tell me why I'm wrong.
The first few seasons of Smallville, because eventually, you know, when a show is on the air forever, like Smallville was, eventually you're going to have to jump the shark to try and keep people interested. But the first few seasons of Smallville, from what I remember, were actually pretty faithful adaptations overall of like a modernization of like Superman's youth growing up.
My understanding with the later seasons that I never got to was they brought in Oliver Queen and they brought in Cyborg and they brought in a female hero that I can't remember, but they didn't have the rights to Batman.
Yeah.
So they tried to do the Justice League without Batman. And like
where do you think they get their funding?
Right.
It's like trying to have the Avengers without Tony Stark. It's exactly that.
Yeah, no, I mean, really it is. It's just like, it just really, I mean, I guess you could say Oliver Queen would have funding. Yeah. And I think that's what they did. They made him like the rich leader of the group, but it just falls flat. You know what I mean? Like, and I will say I have always meant to go back to it because I've seen the last clip and it's him ripping off his shirt with the Superman. Right. And I think that's kind of a cool ending.
I mean, I agree. I agree.
So I've always meant to go back, but it's also just like so outdated. I'm sure there's a bunch of like transphobic jokes and shit in it that I don't remember. And I don't want to ruin my memory either. So I don't know.
So Superman first appeared in Action Comics #1 in April of 1938. Wow. Right. This is how long Superman's been around. Now, the cover of the comic actually says June 1938 because they were planning on publishing it later, is what I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. But it was actually published in April, but it says June of 1938. So, long fucking time.
Yeah.
He was created by two creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster.
Okay.
Siegel was the writer and Shuster was the artist. I mean, they did kind of play off of each other a little bit more, but overall, Shuster drew the comics. Siegel wrote the stories.
Okay.
And he was originally conceptualized as a villain by those two.
That actually makes more sense. I think I would like Superman if he had been a villain this whole time.
But they decided in 1938, these two Jewish men decided having a Jewish coded hero meant something big.
I mean, if he wasn't an alien, sure.
He was an alien, yes, but like blue eyes, black hair.
I get you.
In the 19 like that was actually a pretty big, the curly little swoosh thingy with his hair, like that was a pretty big statement, and he to this day is still somewhat Jewish coded as a character. Yes, he's an alien,
right? I get what you're saying, but I mean that goes into that stuff I was talking about with Eric Silver's comments on Potterless and stuff, where he was like talking about the problem, like how deep the problems of the goblins in Harry Potter go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like when you code somebody as Jewish and make them an alien, you are literally implying that Jewish people are aliens. Obviously, it's a bit of a saving grace that it's Jewish people that created it. Like that makes it better. But
like also, they weren't trying to be as nuanced. They were trying to have like the symbol of American freedom and just a American symbol that was heavily Jewish coded. So that way it could help in some way combat the anti-Semitism, the extreme anti-Semitism that was happening.
My headcanon is they came up with the origin story after they decided to make him Jewish coded.
Yes.
That's my
basically.
headcanon. Yeah.
That's most likely what happened.
Right.
Initially, they pitched this as a newspaper comic because in the late 30s, early 40s, if you were a newspaper comic, especially a newspaper comic artist, holy fuck, were you making money?
Oh my God. I knew that.
You were like a household celebrity. If you were in the funnies, like that's why you have like all these classic American newspaper strips. Like even the soldiers would go and get like newspapers, and that would help raise morale to deal with World War II.
Well, I mean, that's why Bill Watterson can afford to be a hermit, even though he didn't, even though he didn't franchise or market Calvin and Hobbes like the way Jim Davis did. You know what I mean? Like he literally just lives in his house and just like gets his food delivered. Like nobody's seen him in years. Like at least it's my understanding. I could be wrong.
Right.